you're like a Lamborghini driving down the road, right? You're an efficient machine. But if you don't take time to stop and take care of that machine every now and again, you're running yourself ragged and it's not good for you in the end. It's also not good for the people around you.
Mental health champions, we are turning 5 years old today, and I couldn't think of anyone to do it with besides my good friend Carlos. Great to see you, and thank you for joining me on a mental health break.
Hey, brother, 5 years, congratulations. Just like I've seen over the years, the dedication that you've poured into this show. And Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year. We are recording this about a week out, New Year's Eve here in Tampa area. A little chilly for us Floridians, but we'll take it. No snow. Everyone, I want to thank you so much for listening for 5 years, helping make this show a top 10% global podcast. We will get back up to 5% like we were, but the mission remains the same. Talk mental health with a new guest every week or myself to let you know you're not alone. Carlos first came on, I want to say 2020, and then now he's been on a few times. His company, Tampa Counseling and Wellness, was our show's first partner. So a lot of love to him for that. And Carlos, what's your favorite part about running Tampa Counseling and Wellness?
The people, and what I mean by the people, not just the clients that we get to serve every day, but my staff. I was just actually on the phone with a potential new hire, so we're bringing somebody else on board. And so, your question is very timely. I was just reflecting on this yesterday in sort of sharing with them like the culture that we've been able to create there. Man, I get to see these like amazing human beings show up every day. Whatever they're struggling with, they're able to put aside to show up for the people that come to see us. It's a real testament to the kind of work that a lot of therapists and psychologists and counselors are out there doing every day for the healing of society. So that just warms my heart every time I think about it, brother.
Let's take a second right here. If someone does need help today, needs someone to talk to, how can they go ahead and find out about what you and your team does?
If you're struggling with something during this season or even today, I know that there's a lot of local sort of support numbers around where you are. There's counselors and therapists in your city, in your town. Don't be afraid to reach out. But if people want to learn a little bit more about us, they can find us at Tampa Counseling and Wellness.com. We're also Tampa Counseling and Wellness on Instagram, where we like to provide, some psychoeducation around mental health and, different tips and strategies when we are going through something difficult.
Thank you for sharing all that, everyone. Go ahead, check out what he has to offer. He also does a lot of great speaking and inspiring stuff on his Instagram there. But you mentioned something just a few minutes ago. This time of year, people need these resources. For me, it's been a lot of overwhelmed feelings, a lot of rush, go, 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 traveling back and forth. It takes longer to get back in my groove from traveling now. I guess, right, the older I say we get, I've had to remember to slow down. And behind the scenes, we were talking about taking some relaxing, resetting time. What are some things you're looking forward to catching up on now
Yeah.
that we have a few days to finally catch our breath and end the year?
Really great question, brother. For me, it's really getting centered in being with my family and just being with myself, right? So for me, meditation and downtime and time in nature are really, really important to sort of reconnect with the self. What is my body needing? What is my heart needing? What is my mind needing? So that feels, really, really important this time of year. And also just remembering, right? Like a time to reflect. I think we often put a lot of pressure on ourselves throughout the year to accomplish and do, and all of that is amazing and great. But I've always used sort of this end time of year to reflect on, what the last year has brought. What have I been able to accomplish? What are some things that I still maybe want to look forward to in the coming year? But it's a real deep time of reflection for me, which I think is important, especially in this society where we're always go, go, go. What's the next thing? Reflecting on your wins is such an important element to that.
A lot of things I'm doing more and more, and I'm grateful because I have a team, some rock stars that are helping me along this journey where I'm starting to intentionally celebrate some of these things. Like on today's release, there'll be a time block for most of the day. So you know what? I slow down, life goes on, and I'll get back to it tomorrow.
Totally.
I put these self-imposed deadlines on myself always as an entrepreneur where I tried to get the book out for Black Friday and the course. Of course, now my sixth, I think, solo book on Amazon, I still had troubles. Couldn't get the book out on time. 7 weeks later, the book finally is out. Beat myself up for no reason. I hired someone to make this course nice and fancy because now I'm like, okay, if I can afford to outsource it, let's not keep wasting more time where if it takes me a day, it takes someone else an hour. Switch from Kajabi to Go High Level. It's cheaper and has more options for the sales team. Course doesn't transfer. It says it does, it transfers the title page. So it's like, you know what? Instead of spending these few days cramming and catching up and redoing it all, it's just like, you know what? Relax. Grateful for the clients we have, grateful for the shows continuing to go. What's your take on letting it be right now instead of the chase?
Yeah, brother. I mean, just love what you're saying there. I think so many of us can often struggle with that. Again, just sort of reminding ourselves we live in a culture that sort of breeds that kind of mentality that we always need to be on the go. We always need to be accomplishing something. And we forget, right? We forget the value that we have in our intrinsic worth, right? And all of the ways that we show up and all of the things that we do for the people in our lives. This is something I've been trying to implement into my life for like the last 3 or 4 years, which is really functioning more from a place of just like, right, trusting that the universe has is just going to put everything that I need in front of me, and that those doors that I am trying to open that won't open is because they're not meant for me to open them, and there's other doors, that I'm supposed to walk through, and it's a big mentality shift, man. I hear you. It's so easy, especially this latter part of the year. Again, where we're feeling this pressure of like, okay, what do we need to do in 2025? What needs to change? What did I do or didn't? All of this stuff around goals, and sometimes it's like, hey, just stop, take a deep breath, recenter yourself, see your value and worth outside of what you can or can't accomplish, and just cool out. Right? What that has done for me, Vince, is it's allowed me to see that like there's a different way to be successful in the world that is not constantly wrapped around stress, anxiety, and pushing myself, that is more wrapped around and just kind of honoring what is, allowing the goodness to sort of come to me, to attract what is supposed to be in my life. And let me tell you, brother, having changed that in my life has just made me a more grounded, more loving, more compassionate, more patient individual. And this isn't the reason why I did it, but the success is speaking for itself, right? Better things and bigger things are coming my way because I'm not grasping at all of the little things that I think should be going the way I think it should be going.
I love everything you said there, and I'm going to parlay that where even this time we're taking a focus on ourselves. The reflection's key for me because I don't want to make the same mistakes. But I'm on right now one of my big Instagram breaks where it's very unlikely for people to do. And I've always done this, not always, the last 3 years, or really since my businesses started making money consistently. I used the social media timers and these little hacks like the whiteboard. But now, I mean, just taking that time to set myself up for success instead of stressing about getting all of these things done. Instagram breaks, so what? I'm not posting every day. Okay. That's not my brand personally. It works for a lot of people. The daily posting, they may be sponsored, their posts, all these things. For me, my brand is no longer that fast-paced entrepreneur life. It's also taking time to enjoy what's going on. 2015, I spoke for my MBA commencement, and now it's year 9 going on year 10.
Yeah.
But most of those years, we're sacrificing almost everything. So now 33, there's different priorities now. So let's see where it goes. But as a professional, as an advocate, what are just some tips you can offer, simple tips for people who may just need a push in the right direction to get on with their positivity, their greatness?
Yeah, brother. I'm somebody that for years, with my background as a United States Marine, as a fireman, just believed in this mentality of like always push through no matter what. Put everything aside so that you can reach the goal. And listen, there may be times in life where that's necessary. But what I have found more often than not, I mean, your show says it all, the mental health break, right? It's giving ourselves a break. It's giving ourselves some grace, some compassion to recognize that sometimes just taking a day or a few minutes to care for ourselves puts us in a position or a place to facilitate the work we need to do afterwards, right? I think of this idea of like you're like a Lamborghini driving down the road, right? You're an efficient machine. But if you don't take time to stop and take care of that machine every now and again, you're running yourself ragged and it's not good for you in the end. It's also not good for the people around you. Another big thing that has shifted for me is recognizing that, like, if I'm not caring for myself, then I can't show up in the best way for the people around me, not for my employees, not for my clients, not for the speaking engagements that I do, and definitely not for my partner and my family. It's absolutely pivotal to take time for yourself to recenter, to get grounded, and from that place, then do the work that you need to do.
I love that. If we can't be our own friend and take care of ourselves, we're not doing anyone else a service with what we're doing there. A lot to look forward to, a brand new year. It's always very, very exciting. While we're talking about challenging the audience to achieve their best and go after your goals in 2025, what are some of your goals, Carlos, in the new year? What are some things we can expect from you?
Yeah, brother. So I'm actually in this transition phase where I'm coming out of the therapy office a little bit more and trying to get on more stages and doing more corporate talks and things of that nature. So I'm going to be pushing, my book a little bit more and just trying to get out there, man, and share this message with corporate America or with different organizations and teams that are looking to find ways to hit those marks, right, and hit those objectives and to do it in a way that feels meaningful, to do it in a way that feels passionate, and to shift, right? To shift that energy from this frantic anxiety, achievement oriented sort of lifestyle to one that's more grounded in enjoying yourself, but also doing productive work that has a bigger impact on society and on others.
Let's catch everybody up just a little bit. He's actualized a big goal he had for a long time, doing some of the speaking he's doing now. Let's talk more about what you're up to.
Yeah, brother. So it's incredible. I mean, I've already been doing it for a couple of years, but it's amazing the kinds of groups and audiences that I'm able to get in front of now to share this message of things that I've learned in the therapy office, working just with some amazing organizations out there. My book came out probably about 4 or 5 months ago. It's called The Unseen Journey: Awakening Curiosity and Trust in the Corporate World. It's an encouragement to those of us that are doers and achievers and leaders in society, both in the business space and outside of the business space, to find a new way to do the inner work so that we can be better leaders, we can really lead better companies. And so it's, again, bringing these sort of therapeutic principles out into the coaching space. And it's been amazing, man. I've had a lot of great feedback and a lot of people really enjoying the message and doing the work. And it's amazing to see the kind of shift that we can create in our lives when we do the work from the inside.
It's taking him all around the country, and soon enough, it's going to be taking him all around the world. I wanted to have a quick but impactful check-in with everyone today. Thanking you so much for giving us the support to keep going each week, and I get so much joy out of it. But before we get your contact info, what's a positivity message you can send to someone who may be going through a rough time today, needs a good message to start this new year off and enjoy us for a whole nother year?
Keep going. No matter how dark it gets, keep going. No matter how much you're doubting yourself, keep going. No matter how many dark thoughts and messages are coming through, keep going. I know because I've been there. I've been in those spaces, and you just got to keep going. You got to keep looking for that small little thing, whatever that is, whether it's a motivation, a message, that light at the end of the tunnel, that inspiration, that book, whatever it is that can keep you getting up and going every single day. Look for that. I promise you, you will find it.
I absolutely love that, Carlos. Thank you so much for taking the time to rejoin us on a mental health break. Here we are celebrating 5 years of shows weekly. Although they weren't the same day every week, I've done my best to get you at least one every week. And today, here we are bringing on Carlos. Where can we find you online, Carlos?
Just launched my new website, drcarlos.com, so folks can go on there and find out a little bit more about my book and the work that I do. Or people can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Carlos A as in Apple, Garcia, Dr. Carlos A. Garcia.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Everyone, be sure to go check out all the great work he's doing right now in the world. We also have a cool announcement coming sometime next year. We'll do another show once we get all settled with that. My name is Vincent A. Lancey, and you could find me on all social media at that name and vincentalancey.com. The show is brought to you by Coming Alive Podcast Production.com. With that, two Tampa guys ready to celebrate a new year and a successful year ahead, healthy, happy, and everything in between. We wish the same for you. Thanks again, Carlos.
Thank you, brother.